So we're now in the month of July. We're halfway through pretty much 2026, which is crazy to say. And if you're wondering what's going to be happening here, or what's currently happening here in the Fraser Valley real estate market, and what's going to be happening here in the summer, well, you've come to the right video, because I'm going to show you some graphs, some insights on what's going to happen here. And with most certainty, we can predict what's going to happen, because the same thing happens every year. It's kind of interesting, the human psychology, when it comes to when people want to buy, when people want to sell, and it shows itself quite clearly in the data, which we're going to get into here. And then I also want to show you some real estate tools that I've been working on for the past, well, couple of years now. I think I'm on revision 20 or so on a lot of them. But this one more recently is this graph here I'm going to be showing you. Because a lot of times what I find difficult, and especially just talking to consumers on a weekly basis, is that the information just seems so hard to find. And so my hope here is just giving you access to this graph here. You can check the data whenever you want yourself. You can get market reports sent to you. It's pretty slick. And so I'm going to put the description, or the link in the description, so you can follow along with me if you want. But right now here in the Fraser Valley, we're looking at all properties. Let me just expand this here so you can see my entire screen. Prices have been continually sliding downwards. And again, this is the medium home price. If you want to figure out what that means, just click this icon down here and it'll illustrate that to you. But right now, prices have pretty much been on a slight decline ever since 2023. Like I said, the medium home price has been down 4.7%. And that's what's going on with prices. And what I want to say here real quick is what I'm going to talk about is the all properties, everything that's what's happening here as a whole. Then we're going to get into the detached, townhomes, and the condos. So if you're thinking about a specific segment, just fast forward to the where the section is, or just stick around and learn a little bit more what's happening here as a whole. Sales, again, sales have crept upwards. It's no surprise, right? You look at ever since January to middle of summer, it's typically when we have the most activity. And again, you can kind of see in 2025, 2024, 2023, right? The first half of the year, it's always typically more busier when it comes to sales. And so when it comes to summertime now, sales are most likely going to plateau. And so expect that going forward here. New listings, kind of same thing, right? It's, like I say, it's laughable when we look at the stats here, right? 2025, the initial blip, and then goes up, and we have the exact same thing happening here. It's almost to a T. And so what does that mean for you? Well, right now, new listings, there's going to be less new listings hitting the market as we go into summer. And when it comes to active listings, we're up quite a bit right now. Not as much as last year, but when we look over the trend, even like all-time trend, right? This is back from 2006. 2008 was the last crash there. There's quite a bit of an inventory. And so 2025, like, we're just creeping upwards with inventory. So lots of inventory. So if you're thinking about selling right now, you really got to be competitive on your price. And if you're buying right now, well, you got lots of options. This is always an interesting one, sales to active listings ratio. Let me just bring it back down here. Basically, it's just like how many sales are happening for how many homes that are sold. And so 12% or less, in this little diagram here, is a buyer's market. 12 to 20 is a balanced market. Over 20% is a seller's market. And so right now, we're sitting, it's saying we're sitting in a balanced market. We're leaning more towards a buyer's, if anything. And again, this is across the board. And then we have days on market. This is always a good question. I was literally in a listing appointment the other day, and someone was just like, hey, how long does it take to sell, my house? And typically right now it's 25 days, but again, that is across the board. Percentage of original price. This is something that as a buyer, you're going to want to know, especially when you're putting offers on properties. So right now we're sitting at just about 96%. So if you had $1 million house, you can expect to get about $40,000 off of that price. Now, what I want to get into is the detached, the townhome, and the condos. So we'll quickly rip through that. One thing that's pretty cool about this graph is you can have multiple things selected at once. And so right now we have the detached. Let me just go back to the HPI price, which is one of the more accurate ways of determining what's happening with the real estate prices. As medium sales price can adjust quite a bit. And so anyways, all that to say, as we can see here, and I'll probably just do this all at once here, make it more efficient, is right now is detached, townhomes, and condos. Obviously the top line a little thicker being detached, the townhomes being the middle one, and then condos being the last one. And as you can see on the side here, what's been happening, right? So detached is down 7.7, townhomes are down 7.3, and apartments are down 9.1. And so across the board, we're looking at pretty much 8% if you were to average them all out, that prices have come down. Now I want to jump over to sales. And again, like I said earlier, when it comes to knowing exactly what's going to be happening, you look at the sales of all of these, all of them together, right? Beginning of the year goes up and then it comes down, goes up and comes down. And so right now we've seen a lot of obviously activity in the detached market, right? If we're just to put detached, but then when we compare it to the condos and townhomes, it's obviously a little bit less, but there's still that initial spike. And so we've kind of hit that plateau, right? Where we're thinking, so if we're right here, right? July, we're starting to see a trend downwards, right? And then it picks up a little bit, right? So we have May, June. So July started came down a little bit earlier here, but then we had that last little spike. And again, when I talked about earlier, it was just the human psychology. And I've had this conversation with lots of different people, friends, family, homeowners, people who are interested in the real estate market really, is that when December hits, obviously nobody wants to do anything. They're cooped up. They're winter's been enough for them. And then when we start getting to springtime, everybody wants to do something. You want to list your house for sale. You want to start looking at homes, and we see that initial like push for real estate. And then when it comes to the summertime, people are on holidays. They don't want to do anything. Like they don't want to think about real estate, and so there tends to be a lull, right? There tends to be a lull. And then when we hit the fall market, when people are thinking, well, I want to buy, like I'm back from my holidays, I want to do something before winter hits. And then we have that other, excess in sales. Now, same thing happens for new listings, right? Same thing happens for active listings, right? Again, we said we're thinking about all-time high here. We're not as high again as active listings when it comes to the detached market, but like we're seeing more. We have more activity in townhomes and condos than we've seen, well, ever since 2005, really. And so keep that in mind. Sales to active listings ratio, again, townhomes right now are the big ones in the Fraser Valley. Those are borderline a seller's market, which believe it or not. So if you have a townhome right now, people are looking for those. Condos and detached, a little less, still saying in the balanced market, like all these are in the balanced market, but people are looking right now, people are more interested in the townhome segment. Days on market, again, this is always an interesting one depending if you're buying or selling. More important if you're selling, just to try to figure out how many days it's going to take. Detached is 25, townhouse is 21, condos are 29. And again, like I said before, you can go check this out on our website. It's literally like free just to use. And you can poke around, and you can look at all the other cities as well that I have here. And I'm constantly updating this thing. So if you have any advice or questions or feedback on what you'd want to see, just let me know. And then the big one here is a percentage off original price, right? This is always the interesting one. So right now, detached, you're getting about almost 5%. Townhomes, and it's interesting, right? Because the sales to active listings ratio, townhomes are at 18%. So more people are buying those, and it's translating into the money or percentage off of original price, right? So if you're looking at townhomes and you're thinking, well, I'm going to get a good deal. Well, more people are paying more for townhomes right now. Like obviously it's still 3% off the original ask price, whereas the condos and detached are about, just under 5%. And so right now in the Fraser Valley, more people are going after townhomes. So if you're selling your townhome and going into a detached, it's actually not a bad thing. But if you're selling your condo, which you may take a bath on, you're going to be paying more for a townhome. So that jump up might be a little harder for you. But that's pretty much it. I wanted to make this real quick and short. Like I said, play around with this graph. You can literally toggle just condo, just townhome. Obviously, you got the year, 3, 5 year, all year. The only thing I wanted to show you here was these couple tools that I have here. Should I scroll down? Oh yeah, right here. Free market updates. So these are some reports that you can have access to. So right now, if you wanted the Fraser Valley, just put your name, your number, email address, download my reports. If you don't want to do that, you can literally go to my other page here, and it has the reports on there already. And so as you can see here, home sold, new and active, sales to active listings ratio, breaks down each segment here. And really just like a nice graph, you can see what's been happening in the Fraser Valley real estate market. So if you want that, again, you can just sign up down here. That's one tool. But this other one here, this is more for buyers. I could use for sellers as too. But like you're curious on like what kind of numbers are we talking here, right? Because I literally had a story the other day where someone bought a house. A couple bought a house, and they found out later that they couldn't afford it. And I was like, on what planet does this even happen still, right? Like, who's your mortgage broker? Who's your realtor in this transaction? Like, they should be. I'm not going to say it, but all to say, I've built a calculator to literally help you through this process. And so we have the sell tab here. You can work your way through the commission rates, the lawyer fees, right? You can get your net proceeds. And you're thinking about buying afterwards. Well, then how much? Okay, I'm bringing this much proceeds over. This is how much the purchase price is. You know, it has a whole bunch of things you can work through. And then the most important one I would say is the own tab, right? Where you talks about how much does it cost to own a home, right? Because the mortgage is one thing, let alone owning, not owning, but like maintaining the home, right? So there's a whole bunch of things in here, and it works for stratified properties too. So go check that one out. But yeah, that's all I really got to say for the Fraser Valley market update. Want to keep it short and sweet. If you have any feedback or comments on what you think is going to be happening this summer here in the Fraser Valley real estate market, let me know. But if you are checking out homes on the weekend, going to open houses, I encourage you to watch this video right here. It's how to spot a bad house in 60 seconds. It literally shows you what you should be looking for and being aware of, so that when you walk into a home, you can immediately know if it's going to be a bad house or not. So go check that out. But as always, I appreciate you watching and sticking around with me, and I'll see you in the next one.